A new book is teaching kids about how to stand up for themselves in the face of a bully. And Little Troublemaker Defends Her Name. Little Luvvie is ready for her first day of a new school, but things start to go wrong when a classmate makes fun of her name. Even though she was the one who was getting picked on, she gets in trouble with her teacher. Oh, I remember that. Throughout the book, she has to learn how to navigate her big feelings, all while advocating for herself. So let's bring in New York Times best-selling author of the book, Luvvie Ajayi Jones, is right here with us. Luvvie, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate it. First of all, congratulations. But just in talking about that story and reading what this story is about, I remember what that was like. Right? You would get in trouble for defending yourself. You describe yourself as this lifelong troublemaker. How did your personal experiences inspire the messages of this book?
Yes, no, I decided to write this book dedicated to those of us whose names were never on the keychains growing up. You know, we'd go to Six Flags and afterwards we'd go to the souvenir shop and never be able to find our names. And I thought about the moment when, I was I was a new girl in school. I was 9. I had just moved to the US, and stepping in the middle of the classroom, I immediately knew that my very different name was not going to be able to be pronounced correctly in that room. And so that experience is something that is so universal, because I know so many of us who spent our whole lives and we still have to tell people how to pronounce our names, and they add burden where there isn't. So I wanted Little Luvvie to show kids who are experiencing that right now that it's okay when you have big feelings around it, and here's how you can navigate it and walk away feeling loved.
You know, I find it hard to believe that people had a hard time pronouncing Luvvie. It seems so phonetic to me, first of all. So it's a beautiful name, and what a beautiful message behind it, because I can just tell with your smile that you represent so much love. You said that this book has been healing for you to write. Why is that?
Yeah. Because in being the person who spent a lifetime of people pronouncing her name, both her first and her last name, like Ajayi gets butchered all the time, I wanted to write a book where somebody felt vindicated, right? Because in the book, Little Luvvie gets an apology from her teacher. She gets an apology from the kid who made fun of her name. And how many of us have never gotten an apology from people who have simply dismissed us or disrespected us? So it's healing for me, because the experiences that Little Luvvie has in this book and in the first book are all to make sure she feels loved, even after she might have her feelings hurt, or even after she makes a mistake. So it is absolutely healing. I feel like I'm using this book to reparent myself.
Oh, I love reparent yourself. I love it. I think a lot of people need to do that. What can kids take away from the story about standing up for themselves, especially in the face of a bully?
Yes, I think kids can take away that their names are worth defending. I've had parents actually text me and say they read the book to their kid, and the next day when a nurse pronounced the kid's name wrong, they were like, actually, here's how you say my name. I really want them to feel the power of knowing that they are worth speaking up for, their voices matter, and that we can insist that people call us what we want.
All right. Well, Luvvie, thank you so much for being here. And I want to remind our audience that Little Troublemaker Defends Her Name. That is the name of this great new book. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.